4 o'clock, and I'm Jerry Thornsberry, Chair of the Board of Adjustments, and this is our regular scheduled meeting, and I'm calling it to order. We have an agenda that was all mailed to us, a whole package. May I have a motion to approve the February 27th agenda for this meeting?
Move to. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We have an agenda to work from. Then there was a special meeting held on February 13th, and the minutes are included in our package. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, tonight we have 5 decision items. And decision item 1 is a request by Iowa Heartland Habitat for Humanity for a variance to allow a rear yard setback of 17 feet, 3 feet less than the 20 feet required in the R4 Multiple Residence District located north of 216 Sunnyside Avenue on lots previously addressed as 208 and 212 Sunnyside Avenue. May we have the staff report, please?
Just starting off with staff, the applicant's requesting approval of a setback variance in order to construct a new home and attached garage on 2 small lots that are being combined. The property is located on Sunnyside Avenue between Randall Street and Leland Avenue. The property is zoned R4, Multiple Residence District, zoned as such since passage of zoning ordinance in 1969. Surrounding properties are all zoned R4 Multiple Residence District. Properties south of Randall Street are zoned R3 Multiple Residence District. Section of zoning ordinance that pertains to this request, Chapter 11, 10-11-2, bulk regulations, R4 Multiple Residence District. The applicant has requests a variance to allow for a 17-foot rear yard setback, 3 feet less than the 20 feet required in the R4 Multiple Residence District. The applicant's combining 2 lots that previously had homes on them and were addressed as 208 and 212 Sunnyside. The homes were dilapidated and required by the city of Waterloo and demolished in 2023. Even with the 2 lots combined, the lot is very small, it's 70 feet wide and by 63 feet deep. Therefore, it would be difficult to fit a home on the lot and meet all the setback requirements. Therefore, variants have been approved on other properties such as 428 Argyle, north of 206 Clay Street on July 25th, 2023, and 921 West 2nd Street in Church Row on January 28th, 2023, as well as several others. Criteria: lack of reasonable return. There would appear to be a lack of reasonable return. It would be difficult to build a house on the site without a variance. Without a variance, the home could be no more than 23 feet deep. Uniqueness: there would appear to be uniqueness to the request, despite the fact that 2 yellow lots are being combined, the lot is still very small, making it difficult to build a house without a variance, and there are other smaller lots in the area. Public consideration: approval of the variance would not appear to have a negative impact on the area, as it would actually improve the area. There has been no opposition to the request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Iowa Heartland Habitat for Humanity for a variance to allow for a rear yard setback of 17 feet, 3 feet less than the 20 feet required in the R4 Multiple Residence District, north of 216 Sunnyside Avenue on lots previously addressed as 208 and 212 Sunnyside Avenue, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood, and there would appear to be uniqueness to the request because despite the 2 lots being combined, the lot is still very small. It would be difficult to build a house without the variance. And there's other small lots in the area.
Are there any questions for staff? Anyone in the audience like to speak in favor of this request? Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Yeah, Andy Conger, work with Habitat at 803 West 5th Street. No, we've kind of had our sights or eyes on these properties for a while, so we're really excited just to be able to put a new structure that will very closely resemble some of the houses that were there beforehand. So it's kind of a refresh of a couple of dilapidated houses into one productive single-family home. So
How many square feet in the new home?
I think those are like 1,300-ish,
With the garage.
Decent size.
and then the garage attached, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any questions? No? All right, anyone in the audience, thank you. Anyone in the audience who would like to speak against the request? All right, hearing none. May I have a motion?
I will move to approve the request by Iowa Heartland Habitat for Humanity for a variance to allow a rear yard setback of 17 feet, 3 feet less than the 20 feet required in the R4 Multiple Residence District located north of 216 Sunnyside Avenue on lots previously addressed as 208 and 212 Sunnyside Avenue, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood. There would appear to be a uniqueness to the request because despite the fact that there are two lots combined, the lot is still very small, making it difficult to build a house without the variance, and there are other similar small lots in the area.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty, motion approved.
Be a nice addition to the neighborhood.
It sure will. All right, our decision item number 2 is a request by Net Worth Investments LLC for a variance to the parking setback requirement to allow for 0 foot setback, 5 feet less than the 5 feet required in the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District located at 2539 West 3rd Street. Staff report, please.
This is Dornoff with staff. The applicant's requesting a variance to the parking lot setback requirement to allow for a 0-foot setback, 5 feet less than the 5 feet required. The proposed parking lot is adjacent to a former alleyway that is owned by the former owners of the property requesting the variance, which borders Sergeant Road Trail and is unbuildable. The property is located on West 3rd Street, west of Sergeant Road, US Highway 63. The property in question is Zone C1, Neighborhood Commercial District, zoned as such since the adoption of zoning ordinance in 1969. The section of zoning ordinance pertaining to this request, Chapter 25, off-street parking required, 10-8-3, bulk regulations, and Chapter 5, general regulations, 10-25-2B6. No part of any vehicular use area shall be closer than 5 feet to any lot line. The applicants are requesting a variance to allow for a 0-foot setback for the parking lot, which will be located on the south side of the property. The property to the south of the property in question is a vacated portion of former alley, is not a buildable lot. Adjacent to the former alley is Sergeant Road Trail, therefore there will not be anything built on the vacated alley, and the parking lot will not have negative impact on the vacant lot. In addition, the applicants are trying to acquire that vacant lot. Criteria: lack of reasonable return. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return, as the applicant could build a parking lot with a 5-foot setback. Uniqueness: there would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the applicants are proposing to have the parking lot adjacent to a vacated alley, which in itself is adjacent to the Sergeant Road Trail. Therefore, the lot will remain vacant and the request will not impact the lot. Also, the applicants are trying to acquire the abutting lot. Public considerations: the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area, and there has been no opposition to the request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Net Worth Investments LLC for variance to the parking lot setback requirement to allow for a 0-foot setback, 5 feet less than the 5 feet required in the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District located at 2539 West 3rd Street be approved for the following reasons. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the applicants are proposing to have the parking lot adjacent to is a vacated alley, which itself is adjacent to the Sergeant Road Trail. Therefore, the lot will remain vacant and the request will not impact the lot. Also, the applicants are trying to require that abutting lot. Number 2, there has been no opposition to this request.
I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know where that alley is in this.
It's right here.
Where?
It's in the black.
Along here?
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
black.
right
And I
here.
thought,
Oh,
Yeah.
that, okay. I was looking in the yellow highlighted.
me too.
All right.
Yeah, I should have
Gotcha.
made that more clear.
I'm just trying to figure out where they're gonna put their apartment building.
Did they, the proposed 10-plex here?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so where does that go, John, on this?
So it's like right like this, I guess.
Okay.
Where?
Like right here.
Oh, I thought that property wasn't for sale.
No, the building itself will be right here,
Okay,
This will be demoed. This will be demoed.
all right,
or already has.
This was vacated
Right.
and sold to the people that used to own this, but it was missed when this got purchased. This didn't get purchased with it.
okay. Gotcha.
Here's the,
Well, that's in here. I just didn't,
Yeah,
I
like
just
where
couldn't
was it
figure
with
out
this?
what, because the way I read it, they weren't able to acquire that or get clear title to
no,
it.
they weren't able to acquire this,
All right,
which was the vacated alley.
thank you.
That is a challenge according to the letter from the attorney.
Yeah,
So I have a few questions.
Yes, please,
Number
Carol.
one is, if we're basically going to be eliminating the alley, where is the garbage pickup going to be for these apartments?
It's already a vacated alley and there is no physical alley roadway through it.
Okay, so, but where is the garbage pickup going to be then?
that would be private in their parking lots. I
Yeah.
would assume.
From Western.
From West Third, okay. And then the other thing is that are we setting a precedent when we're eliminating the alleyway? Are we gonna have other people asking us to do the same thing?
As I understand it, the alley was already vacated?
Yeah, it'd been vacated.
Okay,
Who knows when? It was a long time ago, so.
okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
exactly.
So it says adjacent to the former alley at Sergeant Road Trail. And they're hoping to acquire the vacant lot. Why not wait until they see if they can acquire the vacant lot?
Well, no matter what, the lot cannot be built on. So it doesn't matter if they have a parking lot adjacent to it, because there's nothing to be built there, nothing's gonna happen to that lot.
Okay, but if they don't have a parking lot, where are the people that live in the apartments going to park?
They have a parking lot.
Right here.
Okay,
Well, that's why they want this land, so they
Yeah.
can put
Leave
in a
leave that on
parking
that
lot.
page. Yeah, here, but turn back to that one,
Okay,
so I can
all
put
right.
them side by side for you. Okay. So this here is this
yes,
here.
I understand
This
that.
strip from here to here is the vacated alley
Okay,
that was sold to the previous owners of this.
right,
The previous owners of this then sold this, but forgot to sell this.
okay,
But the parking lot, it's right here.
I see,
Garage,
okay,
garages and parking spaces all
okay.
right there.
All right.
Driveway all the way around.
Yeah,
They're just, they hope to get this, but in case they can't, they're asking for the zero lot line because it'd be real tight to fit it in
okay, okay.
if they had to stay 5 feet off.
To answer your other question, there's a letter in here. That they had mentioned,
And it's in discussion with family members and that they have been trying to get it and that there's great difficulty in securing that last strip. But regardless, that strip is unusable for anything
No,
else. so
I
we'll
understand
pick up.
that, it's just that, I think that we all have agreed in the past that we don't like setting precedents. And secondly, I just wondered if that is a critical part of this whole process, then why not wait until they have either acquired or not acquired the extra land?
Well, they already have, apparently they already have the land where the house and garage sit. Is that correct?
Or did, yeah.
Or,
Used
yeah,
to sit.
yeah. Well,
I think what's
So-
different,
they don't want to build on this. It's just going to be paved, so it's not going to have,
I know,
a
I know.
building or anything blocking.
And it isn't the first time the Board of Adjustment has approved zero lot line parking lots.
yeah, that's what I think is unusual about this, is because of the vacated, and it's a moot point about, will it ever be used again?
okay, okay.
That's the difference, but you're right about the setting precedents for other situations, but this is very unusual.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this request?
Matt McGee, I represent Net Worth Investments. I can shed a little light onto the whole alleyway situation. So it was sold to the family in the 80s when the city vacated it. The property had went into disrepair. If any of you guys had been over that neighborhood, it was really bad. We built a building next door and we wanted to kind of spruce up the neighborhood. We've been trying to acquire it from the family for several years. The husband had died like 10, 12 years ago, and the mom died about a year and a half ago. No estate was ever put together. There was a bunch of medical bills that went into foreclosure, and the lot with the alley was not tied to that loan. So that's why it never came through the sheriff's sale and the foreclosure paperwork. So once we acquired the actual lot, the other part is still in both of the deceased names, but there's no estate. They can't do an estate because there's about $250,000 in medical bills, is what the family said. Because we had talked about working with them to open it up for them to pay for it. But then our attorney said all the creditors now come in because of all the medical bills. So my attorney, Chuck Augustine, says he's not sure if we'll ever be able to get a clear title on it. We're going to keep working with the family. They're willing to sign off on it, Candy and Mark, Pam. But as of right now, it's kind of in limbo if anyone could ever acquire that parcel.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would want to come forward and speak against this project, this request? Okay. Any other questions? If not, may I have a motion regarding this request?
I will make a motion that the request by Net Worth Investments LLC for a variance to the parking setback requirement to allow for a 0-foot setback, which is 5 feet less than the 5 feet required in the C1 neighborhood commercial district located at 2539 West 3rd Street, be approved for the following reasons. There would appear to be a uniqueness to the request, as the lot that the applicants are proposing to have the parking lot adjacent to is a vacated alley, which itself is adjacent to the Sargent Road Trail. Therefore, the lot will remain vacant and the request will not impact the lot. Also, the applicants are trying to acquire the abutting lot. There has been no opposition to the request.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck. All right, moving on to our third decision item tonight. It's a request by BBS Real Estate Holdings LLC for a variance to the accessory structure requirement that prohibits storage containers for more than 60 days in the C2 Commercial District located west of 1120 Hartman Avenue. Staff report, please.
This is Schneider with staff. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow a storage container to remain on a property that it has been located on for approximately 6.5 years. The area in question has been zoned C2 Commercial District since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. Surrounding land consists of single-family homes and commercial businesses. Zone C2 Commercial District. The request would appear to have a negative impact on the area, as the area is primarily composed of single-family homes and commercial businesses, and cargo-type shipping or storage containers are only allowed on sites for more than 60 days in industrial-zoned areas. The section of the zoning ordinance that pertains to this request, Chapter 5, General Regulations 1051E, Accessory Structures. Vehicles, trailers, cargo structures from vehicles or trailers, storage, moving, or shipping containers, or mobile homes or any other similar portable storage containers, regardless if it has wheels and chassis, shall not be used as an accessory structure. Said structures, excluding mobile homes, may be used for temporary storage, but shall not be placed on a property for more than 60 cumulative days in any given 12-month period. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow the existing storage container on the property located southeast of RPM Motor Company. The storage container is used to store extra equipment and parts from cars that are being worked on at RPM Motor Company. The Code Enforcement Department issued a notice of violation in January of 2023 and issued a citation in March of 2023. The court date was reset 9 times, with the most recent court date being set on February 19th, 2024. The trial was pushed back again when the Board of Adjustment application was filed. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return, as the applicant could build a permitted storage building for the vehicle repair business. There would not appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the property could have a permitted permanent storage building on the lot, such as a shed or garage, which would house the extra equipment and parts from cars. The existing structure would appear to be out of character with the surrounding area. Approval of the variance request would appear to have a negative impact on the area, as the area is primarily composed of single-family homes and commercial businesses, and cargo-type shipping containers or storage containers are only allowed on sites for more than 60 days in industrial-zoned areas. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by BBS Real Estate Holdings, LLC, for a variance to the accessory structure requirement that prohibits storage containers for more than 60 days in the C2 Commercial District, located west of 1120 Hartman Avenue, be temporarily approved for 2 years for the following reasons. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return, as the applicant could build a permitted storage building within 2 years for the vehicle repair business. There would not appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the property could have a permitted storage building on the lot, which would house the extra equipment and parts from cars, and the proposed structure would appear to be out of character with the surrounding area. Approval of the variance request could appear to have a negative impact on the area, as the area is primarily composed of single-family homes, and subject to the following condition: that the storage container be removed by February 27th, 2026.
Any questions? I gotta tell you,
It, this area,
is quite interesting, and focusing on houses in that area kind of is not exactly what's going on over there. And I don't know if it's out of character in the area or not, but is it possible, I understand the code, is it possible that they could put fencing around it to disguise what it is? Because it's not rusted or anything, it's kind of a taupe color.
There is nothing that would prohibit them from placing fencing around the lot to screen it.
I was thinking the structure, not necessarily.
Oh, around.
Yeah, because it's hardly noticeable. It took me a while to find it. And so I was wondering if they could put some sort of fencing around it to disguise what it is.
Well, I think that the problem is that it would still be there.
Correct.
But it's
And
not
it is,
permitted.
it's not industrial there,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
I mean,
They've had it
Fencing
there
around
for
it.
6.5 years.
yes.
And then somebody saw it and called.
Obviously, somebody filed a complaint.
Right, and it's been issued twice. So, it doesn't meet code. As far as I'm concerned, giving them another 2 years is like a slap on the wrist.
I was thinking the same thing.
I just do not see why they should not be required to remove it immediately and either find someplace else to put their stuff or build a structure that meets code.
Well, I think that's being kind of onerous for, giving them, you need an opportunity to figure out what the design will be and all, gather the funds and all, and I think it's reasonable to give them time. Even though I don't like it, I think we must follow the code. It's not industrial area, therefore it must be removed.
Yeah. I think 2 years is too long. I would go
6
for 1
months.
year.
I was thinking 6 months.
Now, 6 months isn't,
Give
that
them the
isn't
time of
really
year.
give them enough time to get things in order and to get building completed and so on.
Financing and
Now,
all.
if it goes a year and if they have difficulty securing a contractor, I know, like right now,
getting laborers, getting construction crews, that's why it seems like
2 years seems almost too long. A year almost seems too short. Just knowing the difficulty in getting the labor to come out, even if you can have the plans and the money today, and it might be 12 to 16 months before you can get on their schedule.
That's right.
Okay, well, either way, I think that thing, you know, it's not a real eyesore, but if it doesn't meet the code, then it needs to go.
Right, I agree, reluctantly. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor of the request? Against the request? Have there been any objections on file?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just confused because something that's been in violation for 6.5 years, total violation for 6.5 years. And what are we saying to code enforcement? Because they wrote this, they gave notice of violation in January, they gave them a citation in March, and then constantly plagued with delays, 9 delays in court cases until it comes to this. And then staff recommends giving them another 2 years for something that shouldn't have been there longer than 60 days to begin with. I just have a real hard time with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Schneider with staff. Yes, there was one call in opposition. They mentioned oil spilling from vehicles and vehicles being on skids. However, when we went out to the site, we did not witness any of that.
So that's not related to the storage?
It was on the same property as the storage container that they were referring to.
Not related to the accessory structure, the storage unit, was it?
No, they were still in opposition to it, so
Yeah,
Opposition to what?
the storage container, in addition to these other issues they've seen there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I think Mr. Boson made some good points, though.
And you don't know why for the 9 delays?
No.
It could be
It-
sickness, I mean, there's all kinds.
It could be a number of reasons, you know,
All right.
but I think, were they aware for that 6.5 years that wasn't allowed for more than 60 days?
This is Schrader with staff. To my knowledge, they were not. I can't attest to that.
Okay.
But that's not uncommon that we will have, code enforcement will find these and they'll be like, oh, I can't have those. There are unfortunately quite a few of them around town that have been there for well over 60 days.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd just be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on that, but still, they've been dealing with this for, what, a year now? Over a year? When did it say? The first one was in January of 2023, yeah.
All right.
So,
May I have a motion to deal with this request?
I guess I will make a motion that the request by BBS Real Estate Holdings LLC for variance to the accessory structure requirement prohibits storage container for more than 60 days in the C2 commercial district located west of 1120 Hartman Ave be temporarily approved for 2 years for the following reasons. Does not appear to be a lack of reasonable return. Applicant could build permitted storage building within 2 years for the vehicle repair business. There would not appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the property could have permitted storage building on the lot, which would house the extra equipment and parts from cars. The proposed structure would appear to be out of character with the surrounding area. And 3, approval of the variance. The request could appear to have a negative impact on the area, as the area is primarily composed of single-family homes, but it be subject to the following condition: that the storage container be removed by February 27, 2026.
who monitors that date, the removal of it by that date? Is that code enforcement?
No, they have that spreadsheet.
That's right.
John and Lexi.
Okay.
Yeah, may I have a second?
I don't know, I think 2 years is too long. Myself, but I can second it just to get it
Or you can let it
off.
die for lack of a second and make your own motion.
Well, it's true, but I don't know what my motion would be.
If 2 years is too long, what length would be comfortable to you?
A year, tops.
I mean, it's not, and I know what you were saying earlier about the
Lack of contractors and so on, and yeah, that could be there could be a problem for them. But, you know, I guess I would say that they need to make some progress towards doing that. Excuse me, towards doing that. I'm sorry, and not keep putting it off and going to court. You know, they need to just take out a permit and get things moving.
Since your motion hasn't been seconded yet, you could still revise your motion, or you can let it die for lack of a second.
I guess I'd be willing to revise it to 18 months, which I think kind of splits the difference.
So that'd be August of
2025.
Yeah, I'd revise it then to August 27 of 2025.
Okay with that, Craig?
I could live with that, yeah. I'll second that.
All right, the motion on the table is that we approve the variance for the accessory structure temporarily for 18 months for the reasons stated. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 3,
One nay.
1 nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and our fourth decision item tonight is a request by Nagel Signs on behalf of Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd for a variance to the sign ordinance to allow for a sign with a digital display with moving or flashing parts in the R2, 1 and 2 Residence District located at 501 East Donald Street. May I have staff report?
Yeah, this is Heiberger with the staff report. The applicant's requesting a variance to allow for the installation of a sign with a digital display that will be mounted on a separate structure behind an existing monument sign. 2.65 acre property is located along East Donald Street. The site in question has been zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district, with the passage of zoning ordinance 386 on November 25th, 1991. When the site was rezoned from A1 agricultural district. The site is located along East Donald Street. It is classified as a local road. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The proposed request would be in conformance with the classification of this area as low-density residential on the future land use map. The site contains only a temporary movable sign and a monument sign. Additional signage is needed to better advertise the church. The new signage would be compatible with its existing neighborhood. Sign permits have been issued for similar digital displays on several churches and schools throughout Waterloo. Criteria of lack of reasonable return. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return, as the property already has a monument sign and the proposed sign will be mounted behind it. Uniqueness. There would not appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the existing monument sign is small and will be difficult to add additional digital display information on the existing sign. There have been no objections to this request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Nagel Signs on behalf of Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd for a variance to the sign regulations to allow for a sign with a digital display with moving parts in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 501 East Donald Street be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the area and in fact would assist the public with finding the Lutheran Church of Good Shepherd. The temporary message board will need to be removed once the new signage is installed. There have been no objections to the request and subject to the following conditions. That the site be dim between hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. That the temporary sign be removed within 30 days of approval of the variance. And that's a staff report.
So I have a question. The number 2 reason, you say the temporary message board will need to be removed once the new signage is installed.
That is
And
correct.
then you say, subject to the condition that the temporary sign be removed within 30 days of approval of the variance. Is the sign and the message board the same?
Well, they have the message board is like is a separate sign.
You know, it's just kind of like, you know, you've probably seen your
Regular message board, both sides, and then, you know, you put your lettering on it. They have one of those, and then,
With the trailer and the wheels, that one,
yes, you got it.
That's the temporary sign that needs,
That's the one that's gonna have to be removed.
Yep.
right.
But
So,
when?
With 30 days of approval of the variance.
That's correct.
Without the other one being installed, is that your intent? You
well,
want the temporary one removed before the new one is installed? I mean, the timing?
well, I guess the intent is just to get rid of that sign.
So could it be that your intent is that the temporary sign will be removed once the new signage is installed?
Yep, we can change that and modify it.
Okay. So I wrote, subject to the following conditions. Number 2, that the temporary sign be removed once the new signage is installed.
Perfect.
That's an agreement? Okay, good. All right, any other questions for staff?
Yes, I have one.
Yep.
You're under criteria number 2, there would appear to be a uniqueness as the existing monument sign is small and it would be difficult to add additional digital display information on the existing sign. The drawing we have shows just that. Are they putting up,
It's going up behind it. It's being mounted. I'm pretty sure that.
well, it looks like it's being set on top of
Yeah,
the brick
Yeah.
sign.
it's on top, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
I think he meant within the existing stuff, like
Yeah.
retrofit.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay.
Other questions for Seth? All right. And I'm sure there's someone in the audience that'd like to speak in favor of this request. Please come forward. State your name and address.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Mason Fromm, representing Nagel Signs at 1020 Wilbur Avenue. And first, I've got 3 signatures from surrounding homeowners. I went out and tried to do some due diligence and some door knocking. I was only able to come back with 3 signatures in support of the variance. Properties 3, 4, and number 9. The other properties, I did not have an answer at the door. I don't remember if I sent this little sketch to the city with my application, but it basically shows the structure. It's like 2 steel legs in new concrete foundation behind the existing masonry base. And then it'll come up kind of angled 90 degrees and
hold the digital display right above the existing masonry base. So from the street,
it'll look like it's stacked on top, but it's a completely separate, self-supported structure behind the existing masonry. The other 2 points, the dimming at night, there is an automatic dimming feature for these displays. It's got a photo eye built into it, and it will automatically dim the display based on lighting conditions. So even if a dark thunderstorm rolls up in the middle of the afternoon, it'll automatically dim down to match those environmental lighting situations. And then at night, obviously, when the sun sets, it'll dim it as well. And then the other point was the removal of the temporary sign, the plastic letterboard. Pastor was like, totally, we need to get rid of that thing, and that's kind of what spurred on this this upgrade.
Nice. Any questions for Mason? Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone in the audience that would like to speak against this application? All right, any more questions? All right, may I have a motion to deal with this request?
I would move that we get the request by Nagel Signs on behalf of Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd for a variance to the sign regulations to allow for a sign with a digital display with moving parts on the R2, 1, and 2 family residence district located at 501 East Donald Street be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the area and would in fact assist the public in finding the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd. Secondly, the temporary message board will need to be removed once the new signage is installed. And third, there have been no objections to the request. Subject to the following conditions, that the sign be dimmed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.
I'll second that.
Do we want the second one?
No, because it's actually stated in the second one. It says the temporary message board
That's
will
fine.
need to
Yeah.
be, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Craig, you seconded?
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And our fifth decision item tonight is a request by Nagel Signs on behalf of Unity Point Health for a variance to the regulations to allow a 95 square feet of signage, which is 31 square feet more than the 64 square feet allowed in the R4 RP Planned Residence District located at 3250 East 4th Street on Lot 2 of the North Crossing 3rd Edition, 2 lots north of 501 Lakeside Street. Staff report, please. Seth.
Yes, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow for the installation of a wall sign. The 5.63 acre property is located along East 4th Street. The site in question is zoned R4 RP Planned Residence District. Has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance 5610 on August 16, 2021, when the site was rezoned from R2 1 and 2 Family Residence District. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood or surrounding area. The request would not appear to have any negative impact on traffic conditions in the area. The proposed request would be in conformance with the classification of this area as mixed residential, low, medium, high density residential, professional offices, and neighborhood commercial. On the future land use map within the City of Waterloo Comprehensive Plan, adopted August 21st, 2023. The applicant's requesting a variance to allow for a wall sign facing East 4th Street. The size of the proposed sign is 33 square feet. Sign permits were previously issued for 30 square feet of freestanding signage and 32 square feet of wall-mounted sign at the entrance of the facility. The area is currently developing as more of a commercial area, and signage would not appear out of character with the area. The square footage of the signage would be allowed for the site is only 64 square feet. Criteria: lack of reasonable return. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return, as the property already has a monument sign. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the existing monument sign is small. It would be difficult to add additional information to that existing sign. There have been no objections to this request.
Any questions of staff? Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the request?
Mason Fromm, representing Nagel Signs at 1020 Wilbur, and to follow in the lines of Unity Point branding standards, basically a second wall sign on the west-facing wall was indicated by the end user, Unity Point, as an assistance to, just basically establish branding on their building. The other wall sign that already has a permit issued for it is on a slightly angled wall, so as most traffic approaches from the south, you wouldn't be able to see that existing wall sign or the approved wall sign from the driveway where most people would be encountering the property. So this sign in question at the southwest corner of the building is a much more prominent location. And I did a little bit better gathering signatures. I have 4 of 8 surrounding properties in support of the petition.
Okay.
And just a note, I did receive 2 calls on this request from neighbors, and as soon as they were just concerned there was a billboard going up, I go, no, it's not a billboard, just signage on the side of the building, and they were fine with that.
Okay.
So,
All right, any questions of Mason? Thank you. Anyone who wishes to speak against this request? Okay, any further questions? All right. May I have a motion? Mixed up here. Page 40, I think.
I'll make a motion that the applicant, that the proposed 33 square foot sign on the building, I can't remember the address now, I can see it, but in any event, be approved for the following reasons, and that is just that it's, the area is currently developing as more of a commercial area, and the signage would not appear to be out of character with the area. And I guess that's really it.
And no objection.
There have been no objections to the request, yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the request to award a variance to the sign ordinance to allow for 95 square feet of signage, which is 31 square feet more than the 64 square feet allowed at 501 Lakeside Street. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Actually, isn't it 3250 East Fourth?
Yes, I was just looking
Yeah,
at that.
it's north of 501 Lakeside.
Thank you for the correction. 3250 East Fourth Street is the location of the sign. Okay.
Okay, sorry about the confusion on
that
that.
was because the building hasn't been addressed yet, so we want to have some reference for you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Those are our decision points for tonight. Any discussion items? Hearing none. We have completed all of our business, therefore, meeting is adjourned.
We'll first got to
Thank you.
vote on it.
No, we don't.
No, she can declare it adjourned.
Okay.
If you've done all your business.
She has that power.
Thank you.
Yeah.